Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing on today? We are excited about today's show. And for those of you that this is your first time tuning in, let us let you know a little bit about what you in store for.
You are now tuned in to the Couples Lounge Show.
It's live, it's real, it's entertaining.
That morning show telling you what somebody should have told you about love, marriage, and relationships. Ain't nobody doing it like us.
Because they ain't us.
New episodes every Saturday, giving you something to talk about.
All right. We hope you all had an amazing last weekend. We was off on last weekend, Labor Day weekend, but we missed y'all as usual whenever we do not come on. So you want to say what up to the people, baby?
What up?
And so y'all, we got a good show for y'all on today. Stress and anger work in mysterious ways. And so yeah, y'all get ready. This is one of these shows that I'm like, everybody needs to pray. Everybody needs to pray before they listen to this show. Go get your man, go get your woman, and tell them to come on in, have a sit down so that we can have a conversation so that our relationships and our families are changed. And this show is brought to you by the Black Women's Wall Street, where they empower, educate, and equip Black women that are starting their own businesses. So you can go and look them up. They are in Arlington, Texas. Black Women Wall Street. All right. So y'all ready? Good morning. Y'all know I gotta say good morning to y'all. Good morning, Kashay. Oh, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hey, Sade. Good morning, Miss Ryan. All right, y'all make sure y'all do what y'all do and share the video. All right, so we are about to get started. Stress and anger work in mysterious ways. So I'm just going to say a short prayer with y'all, and y'all say your own prayer. Just real quick, baby, real quick, okay? Everybody bow your heads real quick. Dear Heavenly Father, I pray and ask that for everyone that is tuned in to the show on this morning, Lord, that you open their minds, open their hearts to a new perspective, dear Heavenly Father. And I pray and ask that you give them confirmation or just a new awareness so that they can level up in their yes and in their relationships. And I send this prayer up knowing that it will not come back void. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. All right, we about to do it. Are y'all ready? I got a guest that I need to introduce y'all to. Y'all, this show about to change your life. It's about to change your life. So let me go ahead and welcome her in as I read her bio. So today we have Reverend Dr. Adora L. Walton. She has a doctorate of neuropathy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And a PhD in natural health, and is the founder and director of Heart Bridge Wellness LLC. She is approved by the National Certification Board of Therapeutic Massage and Body Work. She is devoted to optimal health, self-empowerment, and spiritual growth in the areas of holistic and integral health. And she is the author of Everybody's Truth, Muscles Testing for the Masses. So, y'all, we are about to have a great conversation. And for anybody that know me, y'all kind of know how I feel about medicine and taking medicine and all that kind of stuff. My husband gets on me like, girl, I'm like, I'm gonna let my body heal. I'm gonna let it do what it do. So on her website, she said, energy healing is free. And so, y'all, we're about to get into it. Good morning, Aunt Pam. So you all, this is what I need y'all to do. If throughout the show you have a question, Do what you normally do, post it in the comments, and we will get to as many as we can. And I also have told baby, ask questions, ask questions. So we're about to have a good conversation. So you want to say what's up to the people, Reverend Dr. Adara?
Yes, ma'am. What's up? What's up? And we about to go on a roller coaster ride. I'm gonna tell y'all now. I am honored to be with this show. First of all, I said, oh my goodness, they don't know how early it is for me because I'm out here in Santa Fe, about to move down to Albuquerque, as I call it, Albuquerque. But we are going to roll with the show. I'm going to try to pack in as much information, but I can tell y'all with the questions she asked me, this got to be a 2 or 3 part show. So I will be back this time of morning. You know, the Lord had to get me up, but we will be back because there's no way I can cover everything you all want. And I can tell you this, you all can listen. You're going to have to listen to her show again and again. But if you got some paper, if you want to record some of this, because when I come packing and I shoot from both hips.
All right now. Hey,
right.
y'all
So
get
that's
y'all paper, pen. Let's take some notes. Get your phones out. If you can
right.
write in your phones, whatever you need to do.
And
so, first
You
of all, I want you to explain, like, you know, as I've done my spiritual work, and just understanding the mind, the body, and how it all comes together, and how things show up in our body, from pain or whatever. Can you explain what the mind and body connection is?
Yes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some things that, I mean, most folk, you've heard these words used. I'm going to use them. I will try to explain them in a few seconds or more because there are books and books and books written about them. But that mind-body connection is huge. And I am going to give some resources, some books I want people to go out and get them in paperback, get them in Kindle, get them off your Apple, whatever, so you can read and be more knowledgeable. But this mind-body connection, first, I'm going to say, y'all know, thoughts are things, okay? And those thoughts are things, as above, so below. Now, I do also teach spiritual principles when I'm trying to also educate people, but thoughts are things, what you think, and there's a book, most of you have seen it, As a Man Thinketh, So Is He, As a Woman Thinketh, So Is She. Thoughts are things. Whether you say it verbally, orally, or not, you take it in, you visualize with your eyes. That mind and body will interpret, assimilate, absorb stuff. And I'm going to tell you now, it takes 17 seconds, folks, to get a negative thought in. Whether you think it or say it, 17 seconds. So you got 17 seconds. And y'all don't need no clock. You know, I don't even wake up with a clock. I don't set one. We have inherent clocks. You know what it feels like. You don't have to count 17 seconds. You need to offset it. Everything in your body, folks, you are energy. This is not woo-woo stuff. This is not, it may be metaphysical, it's quantum physics, but you are energy. You are made in the image of spirit. You work the spirit, you try the spirit, by the spirit. So when you have a thought of something that you can't see, for instance, you would all think I was crazy if I said the wind didn't exist. You don't see the wind. Try standing on a corner in Chicago or San Francisco and see what happens on a windy day. Okay, what you can't see, and some people, I can't see that. No, thoughts are things. They're as real as it gets in the body. So what you pull in actually transfers it. You are frequency, you are vibration, and every dis-ease, that's how I write it in my book, dis-ease. We were meant to be at ease. We are now bombarded with so much stuff, glyphosate, EMFs, all this stuff, negative thoughts. You have to counter everything, so you have to be diligent. You have to be in your spirit, power, self to offset this, because your body, and I have a book, your body believes every word you say.
Say that again. Say that again,
body,
right there.
Yes, your body believes every word you say, but you don't have to state it. You think it. Thoughts are things. It gets in there, and if it's negative, it goes right on with everything that even as children, we learn. Your mother didn't have to tell you, don't put your hand on that hot stove. You would sneak up there, put your hand on the stove. You learn that yourself, okay? And then once you do, it makes a connection. Stove, light on, hot, heat, hand. Don't put hand on stove, okay? we start learning so early, but we get trained. And so most of your thoughts are somebody else's. You were sociologically programmed, trained, school, parents, external things. And I tell people, you don't have an original thought. So your mind and your body connect these up. And this mind-body connection is there. You can act like it's not there. You can try to dismiss it. The body, there's another book, and it knows the body keeps the score. It's by a man, doctor, and
I've heard of that. I've heard of
yeah,
that book. Can I ask you
that
something real quick before you keep going? You said it, but it kind of kept going. You said
okay,
you have 17 seconds to a negative thought has 17 seconds to get in. Can you talk a little bit about that?
okay. Something that's when I say negative, um unwanted, there's something called epigenetics. Okay, Dr. Bruce Lipton, spontaneous belief. Your learning comes from your external, what's around you. Well, that's your parents, other people. You pick it up. But we're so programmed with negative, unwanted thoughts. They get in there, what I call that thoughtlessness. Less thought, less positive thought. So you say, wait a minute, where did that come from? What I call a flyby. Well, if it gets in there negatively, turn it around, dismiss it. I'm going to be talking about tapping. You tap positive thoughts over the right ear. Tap up and down. I am that I am. I am positive. I am losing weight. I am releasing the negative thought. Don't judge it. Because see, one negative thought, and you start thinking, well, where did that come from? And you're off on this tangent. Who gave me that? You start blame. You start these subconscious things. We are programmed. That body mind is made up of subconscious thoughts. I have another chart that I use when I'm doing my work. And it's based on what I call a map of consciousness. Now, I want to talk about that just for a moment. But when you get that negative thought, just start to dismiss it. You can
So you
tap on the
saying that
left side.
our negative thoughts are stemmed from other people.
Yeah, other people's, the socialization, other thoughts. And when I say you don't have an original thought, because that I also have, we didn't say that, but 2 other degrees. I am very spiritual to the bone. Notice I didn't say religious, spiritual. Okay.
I got it.
And that's because I'm just one dissertation short of my doctorate of divinity. I have a bachelor's of math because I studied practical things. And then I went back to school when I was, I ain't gonna say how long ago. It was a whole bunch of years ago. When I was 55, a good almost 20 years ago. Okay.
That means it's never too late.
Never too late. So y'all don't get to tell me, well, I'm such and such. No, I don't hear that. That's your script. Some of that was scripted before, but thoughts are things. You are a free will being, so you can choose what you would like to think. Even if you got programmed like me at an early age, subconscious thoughts, what you got from school, socialization, church, religion, all of that, throw it out. You are an omnipotent, inherent being, so you get to choose. Well, if that got in there, I can choose another thought because I am that powerful. Okay, so I negate positive thoughts. You negate, and I will be talking about this because this is so effective and it doesn't cost money. I like to give folks stuff. Now, if you see me, you're going to have to pay a little bit, get up off that dime, but I'm going to give you techniques, and they are on my website that are free. Tapping, folks, is free. So we'll talk about that's one of the.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, let's hold that to the end.
That's 17 seconds. Yeah, that's 17
seconds. We'll bring it.
When you get that negative thing, let it go.
And I like when you said that you don't need an alarm clock. And I testified to that when I was going to the boxing gym. I had to be there at 5. It got to the point to where I'm waking up at 3. I have to get up at 4. I'm waking up at 3:50. I would just instinctively wake up and I look like, dang, I'm gonna have to get up. Like, why am I waking up?
Your body knows
without the alarm clock.
Look, Pat, folks, I'm gonna introduce it now because I'm as out there as you can get. I asked God, and I'm telling you this, when I almost 50-something years ago, I asked God, why'd you give me this odd work called energy kinesiology, which is now known part of energy medicine. Why'd you give me this word called muscle testing, energy testing? I'm going to push on people's arms and legs, and I'm going to get feedback from their body, because you are governed by a source. I don't care what you call that source. You are governed by that source. There are pathways in your body, chakras. Okay, those what we call circulating, energy centers, and they're different colors, but they carry emotions, and you store stuff in them. Then you have chakras fall into what we call meridians, 365 points, folks, in your body. Now, what is chi? The chi or ki. Japanese is ki. Chinese is chi. You can call it prana. We call it energy. It's all the same thing. Okay, but what is it? There are pathways of energy that are invisible, and those thoughts and those things get in there. And the negative thoughts are calibrated, measured at a lower level. You can measure frequency and vibration in the body. And lower thoughts, I'm going to give you a chart called the map of consciousness.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
How can a person get mentally tougher to where things don't mentally, or people don't think about something and it breaks them down or get them to shut down? Can a person get mentally tougher?
Yes, you can. And that, I'm gonna mention just what. That's a wonderful segue, because we're supposed to be talking about stress and anger, and I'm going to show you all this. Most of your readers, I know, haven't seen it, don't know about it, but I got to show it now, because you can look at this chart and you can say, oh my God, I have this disorder. For instance, asthma is a disorder, a dis-ease of shame, guilt. Okay, you say, where did it come from? It may be, folks, sorry, I know some out there are Christian. I'm still metaphysical, spiritual to the bone. Thoughts are things, they come from somewhere. Most of this isn't your first time around the planet. It's the first time you might remember being here, but you've been here somewhere before. These things are in your body's memory. Okay, the logic, the left side of the brain, the hemisphere. Okay, rational thoughts. Thoughts are things. Right side of the body is considered the male side of the body. Okay, we're going to talk about this even for anger. Left side of the body is the receiver, and I'm going to break it down. So what happens? Ramon has an appendage. It is for giving, but that helps create birth. Okay, Candace has the vagina for receiving. Okay, feminine. Right side, male side. Left side, feminine. Let me tell you something about anger, because you say, where do you store it? It's stored in the body. Okay, the arms. The left arm is when you're not bringing enough spirituality to yourself. That's the feminine side.
So you're saying if our left arm is like, is some pain in it?
Yep. Same thing. And the right, you're not doing enough physically for yourself. So we don't know, is it exercise? What do we need? But inherently, even in energy medicine, the right side of the body is the male side. So male characteristics. Look at the left brain. Okay, left side of the hemisphere, right side of the hemisphere. The right side is what? For learning. It is for intuition. Okay, it's still considered the feminine side. The left side, again, left and right side. But when you look at things like anger, you look at what is in the body. Is it on the right side of my body? Is it on the left side of my body? The brain is a little different. Okay, you got a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere. The right is usually for what? Artistic, singing, dancing, the arts, intuitive. Feminine side, okay? Opposite side, rational, math, counting. So
can you hold on, Doc? Because I think I kind of got lost on when you were saying the left side of the brain is logical, right?
Logical, rational for counting.
Is that did you say that was the male side?
You could consider it. I don't look at the brain as being the male or female, but you do have a left and right. You also have a front and back and top and bottom. So in my work, when you talk about people being bipolar, no, that ain't enough. That's only two poles. You got more than the left and the right. Like I said, you got left, right, top, bottom, front, and back. And to get rid of a headache, this is called FO holding, frontal occipital. Your occipital point is right at the nape of the neck. You want to get rid of some anger? You want to get rid of some stress?
Or let me ask you something. Hold your head. Now I have done
Yes,
that.
frontal occipital.
Can
And
you
you
tell me
talk about the issue.
what is the cause of headaches? Like how
Now, the root
if
cause,
if
let's
if
talk
they're
about,
showing up in your body?
yes, now let's say there's not going to be one cause with
Okay.
anything that I do. Even you're talking about stress and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, I am holistic with a W or an H. Okay. I'm not Western because Western is only going to look at the symptoms and then try to either medicate it, cut it out, use surgery. Okay. Now, I'm integrated. I do like the best of both worlds. I may have to use a little something from there, but a whole lot from what used to be called alternative. I've watched them more than 30 some years. I'm not alternative anymore. I'm not even complementary. They didn't change that. Now we're integrative, okay? But I'm holistic. I'm gonna look at your whole body and determine the root. You said, where's the headache? Well, it may be because of what something you ate, the timing of when you ate, somebody's energy field that you were in, that they threw something at you. Y'all, I update myself. The OJs, the song Backstabbers, you walking away from something, you had an argument, you didn't like what was said in the meeting, and somebody throws something at you as you were walking out the door. Your energy field, folks, you have what we call a biofield. The auric field contains the chakras, the meridians, again, the pathways of energy that the energy flows on, you don't see, but it collects all of that data that on a subconscious level and a conscious level. So thoughts are things, and whatever you're thinking, whatever you pick up, it gets in there. So you have to do what I call verbal hygiene, verbal cleanup. Get stuff out of your biofield, get stuff out of your field with color, with a positive thought. Something negative got in there, don't use the left brain to analyze it. Go to the right and say, wait a minute, I just intuited something got in there. It doesn't feel right. I need to get it out. So,
Can I read I want to read a statement to you real quick, and if you can just kind of expand on it. And it goes along with what we're talking about right now. Good morning, everybody that has joined the show. We have Reverend Dr. Adora on, and we're really making a connection between the mind and the body, because as we are in relationships and just doing life, and we, like she said, in the Western world or Western mindset, a lot of times we just think, oh, we just have these elements. Oh, I just randomly broke my foot, or golly, I got this pain in my side. And we don't really connect it to our thoughts and the things that are going on in our mind. And so that's why we wanted to bring her onto the show. And so, as we mentioned earlier, it's like, okay, this show is about leveling up and looking at things from a spiritual perspective, and really the power that we have within us to change our lives by our thoughts. And we know, or if you listen to the Couples Lounge show on more than one occasion, you understand that everything starts with our thoughts. If you follow us, follow me, everything starts with our thoughts. And so this is the statement that I want to read. The mental thoughts and emotional patterns that most often precipitate disease or disorder in the body are criticism, anger, resentment, guilt, shame, grief, and fear. How does it show up, or what do you have to say in regards to that?
Okay, first of all, I've been trying to show this chart. I'm going to show this chart. I'm going to show this book. I want y'all to write it down.
And if you have a copy of that chart, I would love to.
I sure do.
Okay.
I will send you the chart. You can get it to your listeners. But let me show one thing. First of all, feelings. This is an old book, and there's so many. The body keeps the score. Okay? You may not. Your brain is part of that body, your heart. And there, I can do a whole show about the heart. And there's a brain, folks. I'm going to tell you right now. Go to Heart Math, HeartMath, heartmath.com. Don't try to live your life. And I know we push this. This is where I'm going to walk a different thing. Feelings buried alive never die. Feelings buried alive never die.
Explain that.
What you think translates into a dis-ease, a disorder, capitalizing on everything that went before you. So this book gives a probable cause. We talk about the root, a probable cause. to being overweight, to your alcoholism, to your allergy, to anorexia, okay, chronic fatigue. It gives probables. They're not probable for me. Every disorder, disease that's listed, okay, this is just one book, but I energy test because Ramon is uniquely Ramon, Candace is uniquely Candace. Okay, in that relationship, you're symbiotic, but I gotta check your energy level first and find the root of the disease for why are you getting like even the cold. Okay, you said headache, but thoughts are things. So you have to look at what fingernail biting, all of these things. You don't just guess at them. Headache, I'm gonna tell you, tension and stress. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are more than 10 probable causes for the headache. When I look at you and I energy check you, I don't see you with your face and all. I don't. I see you as energy. I see you as organs. I see you as you got over 12 systems. Most people wake up in the morning. If you had to tell your system, most of us would be dead like a chi. Why? You don't tell your heart to beat you. There's a source that runs all of this. But your free will choice is what allows in things that then cause you the hay fever, stuff with your hair falling out, heart problems. You choose those. You're just choosing at a subconscious level. And I will say this, the subconscious loves you enough to say, Ramon doesn't really even pay attention to what he's doing here. So I love Ramon enough that what I'm going to do is bury this thought, bury this thing, bury this event, bury this childhood trauma, because it was so hurtful, hateful, and they won't remember it until it shows up and somebody or some event triggers it 20, 25, 15 years, whatever later, and up it pops and you don't resolve it. So what happens? Oh God, here comes my heart problem. Well, why do I have that? Well, maybe I wasn't approved by others. It's a heart issue, lack of love. Violating the law of love will bring you a heart issue, palpitations. I don't guess. What I do is take your name and my energy testing, which I've been doing over 40 years, and I will nail specifically the energy upset or whatever in you, what I call the dis-ease, whatever it is in you. And then I go in my toolbox after praying. I don't know. I've been trained like everybody else. I got a lot of knowledge, book skills. But I'm going to ask at the highest level of the source you use, your God, oh, box. I don't care what words you use, because I'm not going to let it separate us. We're honoring one source, but I'm going to ask the source in your body based on this headache, whatever you have, your allergy, what is the root? Then after I find the root, I'm going to ask out of my toolbox, what is going to alleviate this for you? The same thing. You may love each other, but the same thing works for Ramon. It's not going to work for Candace. It's based on your upbringing, what you came here with, your parents, and what you folks came and scripted prior to your birth. What did you come here to learn? What did you come here to teach? Okay? And diseases and disorders, what I even call pre-birth or birth karma, past life stuff, it's going to impact you, but you don't have to balance all of it. What you have to do is become, I tell people now, so hear me. Most of us are trying to live, and I used to espouse that, live a path of balance. Oh, I'm too far right. I got to get back to the center. No, you got to learn how to neutral. What's the worst thing that can happen in this scenario with this disease or disorder, and what's the best thing? And come to a point in the center. What is that about? That's not about I must be balanced. No, what I want folks to be is resilient. Heart math. I want you to know how to be resilient, how to be more optimally resilient so you can bounce back from that. So I am going to go. So as far as your question, no, you can't just say the headache came from this. It could be an unpleasant relationship. You're feeling unable to control certain things. It could be a straight up physical issue. But most times tension and stress comes from an inability to resolve an emotional, and emotional, energy in motion. That's what energy is to me. That's what an emotion is. Okay, it's an energy in motion, whether it's positive or negative. We label everything. Stop labeling. If you're going to label, then positively, then you can go forward because you can balance. Everything has a frequency. If you have a negative, I don't care what the disease or disorder is, find the positive, offset it. What do you get? Neutral, zero. You then go back to balance. Okay. However,
Okay.
that
Woo!
balance,
This is like it's just it's so much. It's so
so
much. I hope y'all following. Look, I got my paper over here. I'm making
she
little
asked this.
notes.
Here's the answer. I want you all to get this because you said it. You asked that question and you put in fear, you put in anger, you put in guilt and shame. Let me tell you, folks, get this chart. You can get this off Amazon. This came from a book. And the man is on the other side. He's in the world of spirit. He was a medical doctor that discovered my work, energy kinesiology. And he got a chart. It is called the map of consciousness. And I teach at churches on this. I have lectured on this on the Shift Network. I have been there. It's called a map of consciousness. The map of consciousness came from a book, Power vs. Force. Dr. David Hawkins. He's no longer here, but I met him. He used to live in Sedona, Arizona, teach. He's on the other side. Power vs. Force. He came up with a map of consciousness. What he does, and I'm just going to go up because most of us, we have even measured this clinically in your what are called, we're supposed to be so, civilized. Well, in our civilized countries, the U.S., the USSR, China, all of them, what we have done is we have programmed people, say they've calibrated. There is a law, logarithm, they call a law, a number assigned. So let me start with the lower ones. They know civilized countries calibrate. People live. The hidden determinants of behavior which attract disease or disorder are based on what you are holding, and they have put numbers. Shame, okay? Shame is level 20. Map of consciousness. There is now a book that is only based off his first book. The original book was Power vs. Force. With this in here, he gives examples. They've got people. What you do,
Reverend
is
Reverend Adara, I have an idea. Since I know that we will have you back, I want to be able to get the chart first, and like we already got people asking for it. So if we can actually get the chart and then be able to, for those that follow us that want it, we send it out, and then as you kind of go over it'll make a little bit more sense to us. And so I want to be able to kind of shift real quick to that question of why is it important to have healthy relationships? Why is that important? Thinking about the mind, the body, disease, like you were saying, you got 17 seconds for the negative thoughts, because
to get it out.
Reality of it, I believe, as we know, our relationships bring up things within us, as you were saying earlier, that is a trigger. Our subconscious love us enough to bury that hurtful thing, but then somebody triggers us and then it comes forward. So couples lounge, let's talk about it.
All right. The reason it comes up is you're supposed to address it. As you know, if you keep doing what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. That's disease, disorder, thoughts, things, whatever's in the relationship. So when you don't work it out, bring it to the front, bring it to so they can be balanced. Okay, but what we do is we start projecting, we start blaming. Again, that's on the chart, and all I want to say is you can actually now get a book that's based on the map of consciousness, but it shows all diseases and disorders are related to the numbers: guilt, apathy, grief, fear, anger. Anger is higher than guilt or shame. And there are diseases and disorders actually with that. But with this, it comes what you really, the life that you're living. So a balanced relationship, when you want a healthy relationship, folks, I'm going to first you start with self, and I mean higher self. Your alignment with the Most High, with the I Am, with the presence, with God, with Creator, with Source, whatever name you have, okay? Because it is still based on love, okay? So that's the first thing. What is your alignment?
Mhm.
Okay, so
What's
this
your alignment with
this
God?
yeah, your healthy relationship. What is your healthy relationship with source? I didn't say religion. I didn't say what is your religious background. I said what is your alignment? What do you feel is your sense and your connection with your source? How it sees you and how you see it. Let's start there. Because then
Mhm.
when it filters down, is then when we get into, well, how do I feel about Ramon? How does Ramon feel about Candace? But see,
Mm.
if you don't have a healthy relationship based on self-love, and I mean higher self-love, you can
Yes.
forget. So let me do this. I'm going to tell for
Mm.
everybody out there, because this used to be me, and some of y'all are still this, and this is why you have problems. I want you to see your relationship like a pie. Now, most people, when you come in a relationship, before you even get to your sweetie, your significant other, who you decide you might marry, now you got a husband or wife. Forget it. Look at the pie. What do you bring to the relationship? Most people bring half a pie, a quarter of a pie. You know what I'm saying? You cook a whole pie, you want to, Ramon may say, well, I want a piece of that pie. Well, in the relationship, you literally are bringing your pieces of you first, but you're expecting Candace. If I bring half a pie, I got half of me in this relationship. I want her to do what? Fulfill the other half. Because I think I'm not going to have a whole pie when I came to this relationship. No, you going to have the piece that you bought, and she's going to have the piece that she bought. And sometimes them pieces don't make a whole. Why? Because neither of you came with your whole self to the relationship. You came with lack. You came in limitation. You came with lack of love for yourself. So you're
Mm.
expecting
Woo.
the other person, am I talking truth? You're expecting the
Woo.
other person to fulfill your shortages, your limitations. No, folks, I've learned well over 50, 60 years. You bring what you can bring, your optimal self, and don't blame the other person. Don't project. Don't get into fear. Don't get into, guilt, because you bring in all your baggage to that relationship. I don't care how good she looks, he looks, what he got. We all have limitations and deficiencies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Own them. Go back to your relationship with source. Let me tell you, if you don't take nothing else, love yourself the way you are right now. You take whatever your lacking is, put some light on it, put some
Yeah.
love on it.
Yeah.
I got the best of me that I'm bringing to you, Ramon. I
Yeah.
got the best of me, Candace, that I'm bringing to you.
Yeah.
Okay? And those two halves, like I said, don't make a whole. And I've seen that so much in relationships. As clergy, I do counseling. And no, I'm not one of them clergy, you should stay with each other forever. No, when you have walked as far as you can walk with anybody, when you have bought the optimal you, the best you, sometimes your learning was I walked as far as I could with that person. Bless him and let him go. Bless her and let her go. Stop dumping on each other with the negative, with the you did this and the blame and whatever. You both got baggage you bought in there. And if you didn't unpack your baggage, take out the stinky clothes, reorder them and balance them, that baggage is going to be in that relationship. And it's not the other person. It is from your family. It is from what you were brought up. It is what you learned. But love what you can and then address this appears to be a negative. This is
What do you
making,
mean? What do you mean is not from the other person?
okay, in other words, you triggered that. In other words, your baggage, whatever it is, triggered his or her response to you. Now, notice, and I'm going to say this, most people react in relationships. You don't respond. Respond
Woo.
is a thinking. I have to go up to the brain. I have to think about, oh, was this an event? Was this a behavior that I had before? And was it with my mother? Was it with my father? Was it with a family member? Was it because of school? But I just took it out on Ramon because I
Mm.
reacted because he exhibited, hear me, he came with the same energy and the same items that precipitated my reaction before. But Ramon wasn't there. He wasn't the teacher that yelled at you. I had a
Mhm.
client. She
Mhm.
literally was in a wheelchair. Why? Hear me. She had a professor, and the man's name was Dr. Love. I'm not making this up. I've had a whole bunch in my career. His name was Dr. Love. Well, she was an excellent student, but he didn't like her personally. He reminded her of something. He tried to fail her in college. Well, what did that connect to in the subconscious? He didn't like her, but it connected to a behavior she got in her family from her parents that stemmed as a child, a lack of love. And here this man shows up, and his name is Dr. Love. 20 some years later, and what happens? He tries to fail her. And what happens? She experiences, when I get her as a client, I said, wait a minute. And I said, let me energy check you for where did this a thought come from? Where did this event come from? It went back 20 some years. I said, what happened to you? Everybody has a light bulb or an aha moment in that relationship. But if you invest in throwing stuff, throwing the dirt, throwing the behaviors and whatever, you won't get to the root of, oh, this was really for my learning first. And Ramon just triggered it. Okay, so what you do when you respond is a thinking behavior, and response is higher on the chart, the map of consciousness. So I'm choosing to, let's say, have courage, level 200. I'm going to choose to look at myself in this event and see what happened. Well, in her case, we went all the way back, and I said, guess what? It showed up in you as a lack of love, but you self-attack, you self-judge. You see what I'm saying? And so if you don't have this connection here, because that source, now, and I really mean this, folks, my source loves me with my, what's the John Legend song? You know, I like the curves, and I like your crooked teeth, you know, whatever
Like
it is.
everything.
I like everything. So I'm going to honor my weaknesses. I'm going to honor my limitations, because what is it? I'm on a journey to live and to learn about me. Okay.
And that's what I think for me, a lot of people, and I will speak to our people, and just what I've just taken from everything that you said is that we have to, it's like own our weaknesses instead of projecting them. You know, we have those defense mechanisms because of those deeper feelings of either unworthiness or stuff that happened to us in childhood, and so we just project and make it about everybody else versus about us, because some people can't take ownership for their own emotions and what they are feeling.
And that's what I'm saying. When you can't, this is where this comes into play. You say, wait a minute, I am showing this. And my partner just said, babe, why don't you take a look at, you're pushing this on me. But I'm going to tell you what most of us do in relationships, not just Black folk, but we learn it. The first thing you do is you get defensive, you push back, you label, you start throwing dirt. Okay, that's what happens. You both drop, hear me, folks, this is spiritual teaching. You both drop off that higher level of where you are, the God self that says, when you look at this, what is the lesson? What am I supposed to learn? Don't throw it at him. Let me try to self-correct first. Let me do some forgiveness first. Then maybe I can look at, oh my God, this is why I have chronic disorder. You know, this is why I have fibromyalgia. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Well, guess what? You threw your sick and tired on the other person, but the original thing is your pattern. Don't be trying. It is still your pattern. You cannot project, folks, on someone else if you aren't the original sender. So you come back, return to sender, as I say, look at what I need to clean up, look at in myself. I don't care if my parents did it. We can stop blaming. We need to learn how to forgive. Give. It is forgiving, giving to yourself, surrendering to yourself, releasing that which no longer serves you or needs you, serves you that you no longer need. So if I don't need it, I don't need to throw it on him or somebody else. Let me clean my act up. Now, I may have to ask my partner, my lovey-dovey, whoever it is, my significant other, for a little time out in space. Because I did project. I did react. I did not respond. I didn't go to the thinking part. I didn't go to my heart. And there's a brain in the heart. And it is resilient. Folks, you have, it's called neurocytes. They are in there. They think, these cells, they just discovered them 2-3 years ago. And I mean this just now. They think independently. They govern emotions. They think independent of the brain here. So I tell people, no, don't go up here all the time. Talk to the brain here. Okay, that is resilient. And this brain knows how to talk. Stop the separation game that we play on this planet, in this nation, separating me from you based on skin color, based on age, based on sex, based on philosophy, based on religion. Stop the separation game. The wholeness and the collective says, I need to start way up here, level 500, love. Well,
So
guess
let
what?
me let me
Joy
let
is
me ask you
I
this.
choose. Yeah, I choose to think a higher thought. I choose to address
Choose.
what's
Absolutely.
incorrect in me. I may label it, okay, it's a negative. I can always offset a negative with a positive. But what do I do? What do I use? What technique? Can I tap it out? Can I use an aromatherapy? Can I use an essential oil? Can I do some hands-on healing, Reiki, quantum touch, reflexology? I have to impact the meridians and the chakras to unblock the emotions that are locked in the chakras, locked in the meridians, locked in my chi force. I can impact and change my life force. That's how I can be higher, live higher, choose higher, and guess what? Eliminate dis-ease and disorder from my body, because now I got to the root of it. It was never physical in the first place. It showed up physically because the energetic connection to my life force was there. And when I'm out of order with the highest life force, whatever you call it, it's going to show up in you, and it's going to show up in your relationships. And I'm just saying, make yourself whole again. Bring the wholeness to yourself so you can bring it to the marriage, to the relationship. I don't care what it is. Choose a different thought. Choose higher what you're going to serve in you this day. Okay? And yes, I tell people I live often by this chart.
Yeah, I have to get that chart, because that's gonna bless me, bless my clients, bless everybody that I get to have an experience with.
To you, but the chart itself, you don't have to get the original book, but the chart itself is now a book on itself, and it's called the Map of Consciousness, and it's in there, and it will take disorders, diseases, behaviors, and calibrate them right to the chart. Love
so what I hear you, because we're running out of time, so I want to make sure we're gonna. I already see now. This is because we're not even gonna finish this show. Right. But if you can talk just, maybe a minute to about depression and
depression. Okay, we got 1 minute, so I'm gonna roll, because I do want people to get some techniques and have some takeaway. Not that, she was all over the board. No, I wasn't. Get the Map of Consciousness. Get Emotions Buried Alive, Never Die. Buy the book, okay? And some of it you just read online. The body keeps the score. You may forget from the brain. The body doesn't. It stores any and everything that happens to you, okay? But you can consciously, as I said, choose higher. Now, what do? I already told you, so I'm going to take my glasses off because I ain't reading. This is me. You tap any good positive thought. I don't care what happened, okay? I'm eliminating the negative thought. I am choosing positive thoughts. Tap over the ear. Your ear has all these acupuncture points. Your ear is like a map, folks. I don't have time to get deep in it, but you look at it. It's a map. You tap over the right ear, up and down, and don't get analytical. I don't care how much time. You tap the good thoughts in. I am. Everything positive is over the right ear, up and down, okay? And breathe while you're doing it. On the left side is where the negatives. I am not holding on to negative thoughts. I am not going to keep this weight on. I am not. Whatever the knots, the negatives, tap them over the left ear. You do the same thing. Now, I'm going to offer one suggestion. I like tapping the negative first. I like to end on the positive. So I tend to tap everything over the left first, and then I go to the right ear. So I end in the positive. Why? You're reinforcing the positive higher energies, and you are energetic. That's one thing you can do, and I'm going to give people that. Most people are walking around with a phone. You want to tap out trauma? Now, there is EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Folks, I like this one, and I'm going to show this because there is a chart with an African on it. I'm going to show you this real quick. This is what I see. Okay?
This is where you're passionate about what you do, people.
Trauma tapping technique. Developed because of the wars. Remember, The countries they went to war, the boy soldiers, they were killing all their families, school. We all know about that one. Well, TTT, trauma tapping technique, you can put on your phone. W is called self-help for trauma. It teaches you how to tap. It's free. Do you hear me, folks? FREE, free. You don't have to pay to download this app. Self-help for trauma. And you put it on your phone. It's from the people, and they train me how to do trauma tapping. Well, they got a chart with an African woman on it, how to tap. You're tapping on the meridian points and you're breathing. You tap your stress out. And here's the beauty, folks. You don't have to talk about it, the trauma, the event. You don't even have to remember it. Something's bothering you. I don't care what the stress is. You rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. You just give it a number. 10 means this is the worst thing that could have happened. But whatever it is, even if Ramon triggered Candace, if Candace triggered him, you don't talk about it. TTT, trauma tapping techniques, allows you. I did a whole session. I do sessions for free for people on my website. 40 minutes. You're not going to pay me. Why? They train me for free, so I give it back for free. But you will learn to tap self-help on these points. Top of the head, right here, top of the head, eyebrows, under the eyes, under the nose, under the mouth, at the chest. These are brain points. Left hemisphere is governed by the right point. Left point governs the right hemisphere. You tap on these. You don't even know what you're tapping. Who cares? I know what you're tapping on. We don't talk about your issue. You just tap. Okay? Then you do the fingers. Why? All fingers are related to emotional categories. Spiritual, physical, emotional is the ring finger. Isn't that interesting? The ring finger. Your wedding ring goes on there. That's the emotional. This is psychological, intellectual. When you are tapping on the fingers and you're tapping on the endpoints of meridians, your thumb, lung meridian. You want to get rid of some COVID, start tapping and tap on your thumb. You can affect your lungs. Little finger, heart. This is heart meridian. I don't have time to teach all this. This is in books. But when you tap, you're tapping on the meridians and the endpoints that affect the trauma, and it de-stresses because the amygdala, which is in the brain and stores the trauma, gets impacted by the tapping. Tapping is free.
Let me ask you something. Do you feel like all of us have some sort of trauma?
Yes. You brought it in here, or you picked it up, or you learned it. But and we have more trauma, and I'll just say, and this is all, I know what y'all know. We have more trauma because now they're trying to sell fake meat. Okay, you see that plant, fake meat. You got glyphosate being sprayed everywhere and anywhere. Okay, so we have been bombarded in our environment, in our soil, in addition to the what I call dirty hygiene you're carrying up here that we got to clean up. We got to clean up externally, physically. We have to clean up internally. But that doesn't mean blame or judge. We have to get out of that judgment, get out of that blame. You can do that all day, every second. What is that going to help you?
Benefit. Right. Ain't gonna benefit nothing.
Right. Each one teach one. Learn how to use this map. You are a conscious, energetic being. I choose a higher thought. I choose to tap in love. I choose to breathe love. I choose to de-stress myself. This is called the butterfly technique. Anybody that does it, you're crossing. You just pulled your left and right hemisphere together. Most people don't know that. Oh, you just made an X. No, I didn't X nothing out. I just pulled my left and right hemisphere together. Tell me that doesn't feel good. You can take anything to stress. Start at your shoulders, smooth it. We call it the butterfly technique. Butterfly transformation. Smooth all the way down while you're having that thought, while you're having that negative issue. Okay, that's part of it. TTT, tap it out. Don't talk. I'm going to send you two things. I'm going to send you the map, and I'm going to send you the trauma tapping technique, but load it on the phone. And it is self-help technique for trauma. The people.
Okay. Woo.
Okay.
Woo, 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 woo. See, this is gonna be one of those shows. If you didn't have your pen and paper, you just gonna have to go back and listen so that you can really absorb. And so if you tuned in kind of late, what we were doing was talking about how our mind and our thoughts show up in our body as dis-ease, as she said earlier, DIS-EASE, which in turn is disease. So your thoughts and your mind, and she does have a book. Her book is titled Everybody's Truth: Muscle Testing for the Masses. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle. I believe I even saw it on Goodreads as well. And
it
so,
has a
okay,
spiritual
yeah, I was gonna
path.
say, yeah,
Yep.
it was on there as well. So you all, she has an abundance of services, as she mentioned. You can go to her website, which we will put in the link. It is www.spiritismylife.com. www.spiritismylife.com. And so the whole purpose of this show and wanting to give you all this show, as she discussed, even with relationships, and I guess I'm doing my somebody should have told me moment a little bit right now, so you can be getting yours together, is that in our relationships, the stuff, the trigger, we bring in stuff into our relationship, so we can choose to look at ourselves, unpack ourselves, so that we can respond versus react and not attack somebody else, and understanding that that is our stuff. And if we don't, in any type of relationship, and if we don't choose to connect to that higher source or to heal, then it begins to show up. Just in my understanding, it starts showing up in our body. So you having breakdown in your body, and your head is hurting. And like she said, it's not just one source. It can be from different things, but you got this ache in your arm and your bone. I was reading the book, the Messages of the Body, and it was like our bones, like when your bones is hurting, like that's your foundation, like that's
That's
that deep.
structure. Bone,
Yeah, that's
and
that
see, that's
deep
what I'm
stuff.
saying. I go, bone is structure.
Yeah.
Okay? Solid structure. But you can tell medical doctors say, oh, you can't grow bone again. BS. Yes, you can regrow bone, and I've done it. And I've done it with my clients, and there are supplements that you can take to do that. But you have to put that thought here first. You have
And
to
believe
choose
it.
to think, to know. And I go beyond belief. There's that map. You can
Hmm.
also recreate your reality. You can take your shadow side. I don't care. It's telling you, Ramon, who do you think you are? What the hell you think you're going to do? You think you're going to be successful with this radio talk show? Blah, 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 blah. The shadow side, love the light. Put the light into the shadow side of you. Stop fighting with it and say, I know you're there. You fuel me. You really help me be assertive sometimes. You help me, but I'm not going to attack you. That's what you want me to do. That's what the ego, easing God out, wants to do. It wants you to go to war. It wants you to be at war with yourself all the time. You'll never get healthy or be optimal if you do that with
Mm,
yourself. So tell your
mm.
shadow self the dark side. You can say
And
what
that's
you
a
want
whole
to
nother
say.
show. If you don't know what shadow is, you need to go look it up. What is my shadow, or what is the shadow side? So, babe, what is your somebody should have told me moment from today's show, or your awareness, your ahas? What you got?
Okay.
It was a lot. The responding uh, versus reacting, um, that was huge. That had me thinking. That was my aha, because it had me thinking, do you respond or do you react? And how am I
Uh-huh.
sure? And why am I doing that? So I would say responding versus react. That was me. You pretty much touched on it.
Okay, look, yes. Good. That's good stuff. So I want to ask you, you say you do an energy reading.
Mm.
What is that service? Because I really am interested in, because I'm always trying to go to the next higher. What is your energy reading service? Or is that what it's called when you said oh, okay. When you said where you will take, get our name and this, that, and the other, what is that service?
Okay. I'm sorry. You were cut off. They cut off. You said, what was your question?
What is the service where you said, where I guess I don't know if it's energy reading to help us understand what is showing up in us?
Oh, that's on my website. That's under energy kinesiology. It's
Okay.
called emotional repatterning, and I use a chart called the behavior barometer. And that's what I use. It's this chart, anger. You talked about anger, behavior barometer. So I take your name, and regardless of what you're telling me, I am listening, but I'm going to find where you are on the conscious level, where you are on the subconscious level, and the level of body. I do a 3-part diffusion. A fusion is the events, the people, the original cause. It's like making a stew. Once you put in the meat, the carrots, the onions, you can't take them out. They all meld together. Well, I do separate it in a diffusion. I go back to the original cause of what it was. And that's when you find out it wasn't Ramon, it wasn't Candace, it wasn't. You go way back, you find the original cause, and then I clear you for past, present, and future using this chart. This is one chart I use, a behavior barometer. Again, measuring where you are in your anger, in your grief and guilt. That's the bottom. People that are suicide, they're always at the bottom of the chart. It ain't what they do. It's the thoughts, it's all the baggage they brought that got so overwhelming, they couldn't diffuse it. They couldn't unpack it. That's what I will do for you. And it's about a 90-minute session, but I can take years off. And I'm talking, I'll take 50 years off of crap that they've been carrying that's been impacting them, their relationships. And you drag it to the next relationship. You drag it to the meeting. You do that. And you don't know how to unpack it. Well, that's my service. That's how I serve as a servant. And the service will pay.
And that's oh my God. That's what I would, as we end this show, if nothing else, I hope that you all reach out on her website and just, if nothing else, get that service. Because what you just said is this, if I could sum that up, what the things that we are carrying in our thoughts, it is going with us everywhere. No matter how much you try to suppress it, repress it, not think about it, it is in your DNA. Yes, even from childhood. And no matter, I don't know if you caught it, but she said you taking it into your meetings, you taking it into this relationship, you're taking it on your job, you're taking it everywhere you go. What is the saying? Where you are, there you go. I cannot remember it verbatim at this time.
Energy follows attention. Where you put your attention, your energy goes. But you're not always conscious. You're not always thinking of what you're bringing in. That's the whole point.
And then that is the power of, I'm going to use in the marriage perspective, because what you don't see, what you are unconscious of, your spouse is able to see it.
Yes.
And so, y'all, thank you. Or feel it. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I've been leaving that part out. Yeah.
You're intuitive beings. You are God beings. You intuit, you feel. You are this whole composite. They ain't got to say it. You'll still pick it up. And you're in each other's field. So you impact, and that's why you learn to be as clean as possible, as balanced as possible, as resilient. Y'all gonna have your stuff. I have my stuff. Okay, but thoughts are things. Just clean some of the stuff up, clean the real critical, and stop judging the other stuff, because it's there for you to look at there. But if you can say, I can detach, I can go neutral on some of this stuff. Yes, you can. What is it? The book, don't sweat. Okay, the little stuff, sweat the big stuff, address it, get it down, and then love the little stuff. Love what you are despite the stress, despite the anxiety.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Adara. Thank you.
I love Adara. I love Ramon. I love Candace. Get in that mirror, and when your eyes drop, because you can't look at yourself and tell yourself that, start right there.
Yep. Amen. Amen. So thank you again. You all make sure that you get the book. Go to her website, get a service. I will definitely be reaching out, because of course I have more things that I would love for us to discuss. You got people on here like, y'all need to have her every month, and I'm excited. And yes, y'all, we're gonna get y'all the chart. What I will end up doing is putting an email address in the comments, and if you can just email me, I want the chart. I'll make sure I put together a group, and send it out. Thank you all for tuning in to the Couples Lounge show. We'll make sure that we run it again, because we have to get to the point of thinking as ourselves as a spiritual being, having a human experience, and being willing to clean up the stuff that came with us into this world, that was put on us by other adults or other situations and experiences, and we just get to clean it up so we can continue to become
and just
to our best version of
your
ourselves.
source loves you. Your source loves you exactly.
God loves
where
you.
Are.
Yes,
Exactly
yes, yes.
where you are.
Thank you. And I'll be reaching out to you again, and we can talk about the details of it. Yeah. So thank y'all for tuning in.
So excited.
Y'all have a good weekend.
About my work.